The League of the Genuine is back with me, your host, Fred Muwema. Every Friday we're having a discussion about the important subject of counterfeits, fake products and services. These things affect us in our daily lives. They affect our dear ones, they affect our businesses, but we're not paying as much attention as we should be. So it is really gratifying that you join us every Friday evening to have a conversation around this subject. We have had the past couple of weeks discussing counterfeits, fakes in the building and construction sector. We have put a stop to that discussion, but we are continuing because counterfeits are spread virtually in every aspect of our life, in every sector in the economy. We are beginning new episodes now discussing technology and counterfeits. We know that there is technology for development. We know that there's technology that has helped us access better health care. There's technology that has expanded agricultural production. Technology has made it convenient and easy for the modern livelihood. At the same time, technology has also contributed to the proliferation, to the growth of this counterfeit problem, the counterfeit culture. So for the next series of weeks, we shall be having a discussion about technology for or technology against counterfeits and what we can do to ensure that we do not abuse or misuse technology. So to have the discussion, the first discussion on counterfeits and technology is an expert, somebody who has majored in finance. He says he has majored also in ICT. He says he has a master's in science in international marketing. He has a master's in finance. He's very, very qualified in many areas, but he's very suitable to open the door to this discussion because he's quite been involved in the area of technology. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Robert Kintu, who should be introducing himself. Robert, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, moderator. Fred, this is an opportunity for me to talk about a few things that I actually feel passionate about. Robert Kintu is my name, and most of my writings there's an MJ. So whenever I check
Michael Jackson,
that is Muwema Julius Robert Kintu. So there are 4 names. So in everything you find, I try to maintain the 4 names because that's the way people can recognize what you do and what you write. In anything that you are doing professionally, you should maintain your names.
We are not going to fight over a certain name you mentioned.
Yes, we shall not fight.
But I am assuming that you didn't just copy
no, not
that
copy
name.
and paste.
No copy and paste.
Yes.
Robert, I did see from your profile, you're basically somebody who has done finance. You say you do business development services. But one thing intrigued me. You also say you've done ICT, you are a systems, I don't know, designer, those technical things. You know, this is a program, I need to warn you, this is a program about promoting genuine. So if you come on this show and you say you're a lawyer, for example, when you're not, you get exposed.
Yes.
So I think you'd better own up and tell us, are you a real ICT person or you're just making up these things?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. Aside of studying business administration, that's at an undergraduate level with the Edinburgh University.
Edinburgh, that's
yes,
in the Scotland.
Scotland. My whole education is actually Scottish, and then I decided to do an MBA at then. That was an MBA in finance, but majoring basically in oil and gas on financial analysis. Yes, that was an interesting area, but you cannot do finance and think you are going to do business without knowing how to market. So I ended up doing marketing, and during that time, the most interesting subject was e-commerce. So my international marketing degree, which is an MSc from Strathclyde University, I had an opportunity to choose to do an elective in IT, but specifically on using Internet of all things to actually trade. And you could actually go further to read and say, should I just do only the programming and look at the how to set up a website and do the e-commerce and stop there? Yes, you could stop there. But remember, with my background in operational planning with MBA, I prefer to do systems. So how would you use the Internet of all things to develop systems? So I went further even with my dissertation to actually do a thesis on how do you use Internet of all things to develop systems for companies and so on. And that's why you find that I have a lot of bias on ICTs as a leverage in everything.
So you can speak about IT with authority.
I can speak about
we have
IT
a real
also.
person to speak about this.
I have designed systems in this country, so I will talk about the systems I've designed, and they're still being used right now. I have taught the subject in universities. I've been called as a guest lecturer in different universities here in the country, and I can talk about it authoritatively. Okay,
maybe we'll give you a chance. Just tell us about what you have designed beyond what you're talking now.
Yes, in 2008, we actually designed the first dissemination portal for market information in this country, which was codenamed InfoTrade, that is information for trade. And this was basically looking at how can we disseminate information to individuals on their phones, the so-called capability phones or the future phones, so that they can receive information in their homes, in the comfort of their homes, using text information or using the voice information.
InfoTrade started which year?
We started the InfoTrade business in 2010, but the actual design was started in 2008. So it was actually branded and then
So this was helping information in the trade sector to move from producer to consumer? Or?
Yeah, that is from the producers to the consumer, especially from the traders. Traders wanted to provide information on what's the price of a product. And then they send out that information to the people who are actually the farmers. Then they know, I can sell this product at this price. Let's say if it's matoke from Isingiro, from the farm it may be 5,000 a bunch, but when it reaches Kampala the price has changed. So people want to know the prices all along the chain, and you could actually disseminate this information to different stakeholders using SMS, a text or a voice message, depending on what the person has selected. So it was automated to that level. That was the first system I developed. The second system I laid out, which I got a few coding people to work with me, was the FAMIS, which was Farmer Record Management System. Now, this was based also on research. As you notice in my background, I had quite a lot of aspects of go into agriculture, do value chain analysis. But whenever I used to do value chain analysis, there are three problems you would find. One, we do not have information. We do not have markets for products. We are not able to identify where we are selling. And the other aspect, we are not paid very well. Now, my question was, how can I come up with a system that can provide market information to the farmers? The second thing, that how will I know what they want to produce if I'm looking for a market to link out? Now, for market linkages, my first design was to come up with a record system whereby I get to know what every farmer can produce. We developed a system that does record management from when you start producing something, planting, you're deciding to plant, plotting your land, up to a point when you are selling it out. So we developed that FAMIS, which was called the Farmer Record Management System. And to me, that was a breakthrough. Right now, we have many of them, which have been designed, and many people have actually done. I have a lot of like Hamway. Most of people have come up now with similar systems. But we designed the first model of the Farmer Record Management System.
So you are in agriculture?
That is in agriculture.
Basically, that InfoTrade was
yes,
for agriculture.
For agriculture.
But now, because the subject we are talking about is technology and counterfeits. So on technology, my question is, how did you employ technology in that system? Mm-hmm. And how did you confront the issue of counterfeits in that sector? Because Bob, you know for a fact that a lot of the most, for example, the seeds in the agriculture sector, a good percentage of them are fake. People are planting and the seeds do not grow. A lot of the agricultural inputs that are being used are fake, from the hose to the pesticides to the acaricides are fake. How did this system that you developed, using whatever technology, how did it counter this issue?
Now, there are two levels.
So talk about the technology. Was it used? And then how did it handle the counterfeits?
Let me talk about the aspect. When people are profiled, you get to know where they are actually doing the agriculture from. You know the actual gardens where they are going to go. And most of the kind of inputs, even if it's seed, the seed is matched with the soil. That means when you are supplying seed, that should be matched to a particular location where you're taking it, because our soil patterns are different in the country. Now, counterfeit comes in whereby people just sell anything to the communities because they are not aware.
So did you capture information on how many fake seeds were sold in a certain district?
At that time, we did not do that. But at least I was in a position to know that people have actually received fake seed and they are not able to produce what we had estimated to grow in a particular acreage.
So you have data on that?
That data we have. We can even provide you data letting you know that this person planted this particular season and was not able to produce a particular produce according to the acreage and the seed portions that were used. That is possible to tell. But again, when you go back, where did they buy the seed? At that time, our project was not looking mainly on the counterfeit aspect of seed, but we were aware of people saying, yes, I've received seed, but the seed was not germinating. So non-germination was one key factor. I know on our program, we went into crop insurance and insurance for non-germination.
So a maize tree is insured? It
would be insured. But again, not all insurance companies want to insure non-germination because they know if there is a fake product, that means the insurance won't cover you. You should have bought genuine. And that becomes an issue.
So there is agri insurance in Uganda?
This is agri insurance in Uganda. And we have both index and also crop insurance now is available. And it can be provided for people. But again, you need to have genuine. Because if you're not buying
counterfeits, the fake inputs are an insurable risk, or are they considered uninsurable?
It's not insurable risk. Because if you have to buy the right seed, now that's where we need to go into the aspect of identification of what is fake on the side of the consumer and actually knowing how do I recognize what is fake, because that is the biggest problem on the side of the consumer, especially on the farmer side. They don't know, and how someone has to invest in educating the farmer on empowering them to do that. Our system was used mainly to bring out how do you utilize the seed to maximize your production. And we got to know that the majority of people are having problems in actually the seed non-germination. The other part that we had was the element of how our colleagues were actually working on that aspect of seed. We had a program that was trying to develop an SMS system similar to the market information system, using sending text verification of the seed that was coming into the market. This project did not actually live beyond 5 years. And this project actually had an opportunity to be able to track the produce coming from a different supplier from, let's say, Kampala to a rural area in Gulu. But they could track the seed up to the selling person and not to the farm. That means someone would just use a tracking number on a QR code, and they can actually know whether the seed was coming from a genuine supplier. Now, if that technology was promoted further, it would actually solve some of the problems we're talking about.
But Robert, from what you're saying, you are really demonstrating that a lot of interventions using technology have been employed, but they have not been so successful. So can you speak to why the limited success or the no success despite employing technology?
Technology has to be, when technology is employed, first of all, we need to look at the actual, who is employing that particular technology. I do not believe technology to be hosted. I do not believe technology should be hosted in a way that is actually affecting a particular value chain. It should be a centralized system for the general people. Now, when you have a project and it's running a technology, when the project comes to an end, it actually closes and you lose the innovation.
The project, doesn't it have sustenance beyond? Is this donor dependent? Don't you do something where the community can continue to apply that technology and go on?
That is
well said. When does
it
close?
That is well said, but most of our projects lack sustainability plans, whereby most of them are dependent on the feeding, on the finances coming from the donors. It is important for such programs that require massive implementation and education to be centered somewhere where there is continuity. Now, you cannot start a tracking system, a track and trace system, and leave it within a project, because it will need to have infrastructure that is actually static. Someone has to know how is it going to earn and maintain the actual flow of income that will sustain the staff that are working within that system. And that's where we're having a problem with most of our projects. So when you say technology has been started and failed, we fail on that part of, does it have continuity after the project?
But isn't it a design failure by you, the experts? You're the guys who design things to stop at 4 years with no continuity. Why don't you design it maybe to rope in other stakeholders, the manufacturers of the agro input, the dealers, so that maybe they can pay for the system?
I hear you on that, but I also want to echo that some of these things will actually track the very people that you want to have in as partners do not want to be tracked. And that's why I actually think that what we are doing here is a little bit of a very sensitive subject to many people, because remember that the supply chain also has people piping in the fakes. So when you develop a system, it will track everybody. And in sometimes...
So Robert, what you are saying is that a lot of the protectors or the guardians within these sectors of the genuine, the people who are supposed to promote the genuine, you're saying many of them are actually complicit to the problem. They are benefiting.
Some of them may be benefiting from these systems. And what I'm trying to say is that when technology is developed, technology does not eliminate. Everybody will be captured. So whether you are genuine and something goes through your pipeline, your channel, it will be tracked that is actually fake. Now, some people will not want to be tracked up to that level.
So you are saying technology is failed by human behavior.
That is right. The system will always work, but human behavior, rejection of the system, or thinking in the past, what will happen to me if actually my system or my company is caught at fault at this point? Then they go out of business. So there is that element whereby people fear to join a technology because they're saying, if I'm the first there and things go wrong, I am out of market. Because imagine if one brand has been identified in a rural community that it has got a fake product, inputs and so on. Within that whole village, nobody will buy that brand again. They're out of business. And that's exactly what will happen.
But those benefiting from that whole exercise will ensure that the technology is not deployed. If it is deployed, it is not used optimally. And that's why on this program, we do believe that the most important, the foremost intervention method to fight counterfeits, this counterfeit culture, is mindset change. Because the person who thinks they are benefiting from the counterfeiting activity are actually ignorant. They are also not aware.
They are not aware.
Because when they make the fake phone and make the money, they'll make the money and give it to their wife to go to the salon, and she'll put some chemical shampoo in the hair, and the next day they're in hospital. The money that was made from selling the fake piece of product actually is spent. Maybe even they lose the person. So mindset, how do you think mindset change is a key driver against counterfeits?
When we design a technology, you're designing to complete a particular problem and solve a particular aspect. On the supply chain, it will have solved the problem, but people will be captured. Now, on the side of the consumer, you need to empower them on how to access that particular technology, or even to interpret whatever codes you're putting onto the track and trace system that you have set up. In many times is to educate them about the benefit. Then their attitude starts changing and they start realizing, if I buy a lot of counterfeits, this is what happens to my balance sheet. Because if a farmer does not, or any person does not understand the cost that it does to their balance sheet, they will never take it up. Because people are not actually looking at the actual, how much money am I losing by buying a counterfeit. You brought an example of the phone. Let's take an example of the phone. If you buy a fake phone, you may spend 300,000 and someone buys a genuine one, spends 400,000 shillings. You use yours only for maybe 3 months and it's gone. Again, you go and spend another 300,000. How long have you taken to save that money? It's taking out money you would have used to do something else. So when you look at it from that perspective, people should start seeing the value in what they are doing with their money. Should I buy a fake thing now? Or should I think of buying a better product with an additional 100,000 and I'm able to use it for a longer time than actually buying a fake one at 300,000? So this is an education that people need to understand. And if you take it from, let me talk it from the financial perspective. Whenever we go out to shop and you go and buy a shirt and the shirt is actually fake cotton, they told you it's cotton, it's not cotton. You're going to take it and you dip it in the washing machine and it actually fades all of it completely. But you have spent the same amount of money for someone who have walked in a good shop and bought something better. Now look at how much money you are spending on your clothing alone. Look at, that is where people need to get into the cost of, am I living comfortably with my cost of living, or am I spending more because I'm buying fake? And that's exactly where we need to do the empowering of people, first of all, from the cost perspective, and living a better life when you buy genuine. And then when we introduce technology, and technology is aiding that, then we start looking at what kind of technologies are we going to introduce. Now with counterfeits, we have different kinds of technologies that we can actually introduce on the market. Depending on the country where we are, certain technologies may not work.
Before we go into the technologies, I'm looking at your impressive CVs. 23 years of experience in business development services. You don't even stop there in agriculture. I know you also do the scorecard for the MPs.
Yes.
You're very busy giving them 10 out of 100, 9 out of 0, F9. But now you, 23 years, you have been in this sector. Systems and, you know, info trade. So you, what marks do you give yourself? After 23 years, with the outcry of fakes in agriculture, for example, with the technology that you have suggested, with all the systems, what is your scorecard like?
My scorecard, I think in terms of developing systems that are working and are applicable, I've developed a few systems that are still working, and I'm proud about some of the systems that I've developed. The mark would be, I could take it at around a B, because what I would say in terms of marking myself, it's the public should mark me. Yeah,
we are giving you a chance because we know you are an honest man.
The public
Would you score above 50?
I score above 50. That one I'm very sure, because I develop systems and they work. And I never leave places where systems are not working. So why don't you
score 100? What is that thing lacking?
What is lacking in this aspect is, in my country where I am in Uganda, certain people take long to buy into some of the systems. I've actually sold systems and they come back here instead with someone else. Because in
you sold systems to other countries,
and they come back, and that's when they adopt them. So we know this happens, and you maybe even Jesus said a preacher is not believed in his own country. So we can see this happening in many other areas.
Robert, I have seen you have worked in so many countries like Zimbabwe,
yes,
in Africa, Tanzania.
Yes,
Kenya,
I've done a scorecard in Zimbabwe as well.
Rwanda. You've also worked in the UK.
Yes,
in the Netherlands, and you are saying you don't score 100 because we have some structural problems here.
Yes, that is very right.
However good the idea might be, however. So what's your comment about, for example, we have the digital tax stamp, we have a lot of these solutions, Kakasa, I don't know what it is. You think that technology alone will fight the counterfeit?
It won't fight the counterfeits on its own. I think we need a lot of public awareness on the value of what it brings. The beauty, I like actually the tax system that has been brought in. It's a very good system because it covers both on the financial management and then covers the aspect of counterfeits. But it does not complete the whole journey. Now, when you talk about systems and how people will like the systems, they will say, okay, we have embraced it. But if all of people can embrace it at once, then it will apply it, then it will eliminate what we are talking about. Then you will find many people fearing to actually purchase products that have not got the seal from URA or do not have the hologram that has actually been identified. Yes, we still know people are going to fake these holograms as well. They will try to fake and put them up. But we need to think about the aspect of what people actually think about when they actually go and buy a product which is actually tagged with an hologram from URA. Does it bring quality? Does it actually imply that when I have it like this, it's actually a quality product? Someone may go to NASA and actually have that created as well and put it on any product.
And put it on the market.
So we need to think of that
Bob,
aspect.
It's rainy season now, planting season in Uganda.
That's true.
You have traversed this country, 89% of the districts. You've been there, so they know you, Bob. So if there was a farmer there watching you, they might say, this is the usual Bob. We've always seen him, he talks nice and he talks all these things. Maybe he'll go away and stop watching. Can you keep him here by telling them something new? Maybe something you've never told them. What is it that they need to hear from this expert in putting up systems and ensuring they get good yields? Do you have something new up your sleeve that you can tell them?
There are two things that are right now, especially the trends where we are going in. We need to start thinking that we need to adopt the technologies that are coming. Technology is going to live with us, whether we like it or not. Any farmer, any person, any trader, wherever they are, they need to start adopting to some of the technologies. But look at it from the perspective of where is my economic benefit? Because in principle, if you don't need to just adopt any technology that comes, look at the economic benefit. From the farmer perspective, anything that actually can make me stop buying fake seed, I will go for it. And embrace it and work with teams, work in the cooperatives or associations to embrace that kind of technology.
So they should be on the lookout.
They need to look out for such technologies that actually protect their interests as consumers of these products. They need to go for those products.
But Bob, you're telling people who most likely are still using a hoe. The hoe was used by our grandparents, and you are here, you are a purveyor of modern technology and so on, and you're still allowing people to use a hoe. Aren't you contradicting yourself? Can we say we are going to modernize agriculture with a hoe?
I don't agree with that one, because it takes more time to plant. It takes more time to even supply people if you are using a hoe all the time.
So why didn't you advocate against the hoe for 20 years? You are the people who has kept the hoe on our grannies and saying,
no, but tractors are there. Now we have tractors almost everywhere. But the issue is that people let me talk about tractor technologies as well. They have actually also improved, because we have SIM cards in tractors. You can track where they are and even know how much they're digging.
But do you think as a country, we should have started to first produce a saloon car Kira? Why don't we have a tractor factory? Do we have our priorities right?
That is another question we have. I think I need to put that in the scorecard, because
because we are busy producing a saloon car. We have not fixed the roads,
yes,
but we have a lot of hose going around.
And so.
Can we change Kira? Would you suggest we do a petition? Kira Motors should produce Kira tractors.
I believe that the government has now come up with another model, where the parish model. If every parish had at least a tractor, I think that tractor would serve the purpose of clearing the land and making more people productive, because the tractor will move around 1 acre in less than actually an hour. So we think if they use the parish model rightly, I think the designers, Ugandans, were so good at designing the right models and everything that is good. If we can just put a tractor in every parish that is working and is functional and people can pay for it, that will change the production in this country.
So after this show, I'm going to hear Bob pushing a tractor for every sub-county.
Yes, if you give me the platform, I do that, because those are some of the things we talk about. When you have planning, a model that has been planned, passed by Parliament, then there should be someone implementing it rightly. Now, we also have an issue in implementation. Are the people implementing seeing the actual need of the people down there? If we are taking time to plant, right now, if you're talking about planting maize should be planted in 2 weeks before the rains. Now, if you are going to plant and it starts getting rotten, you will not actually get anything out of it. So the timing is also important. Now, the guy is clearing late. The rains have gone. What are you expecting him to do to get out of the land? So all these things are important to think about.
Bob, in your work that you have done with technology in agriculture, how come you have not stopped our maize produce being contaminated? Isn't there technology that can actually secure the storage of our harvests? You know, you saw Kenya the other day rejecting. Yes. It's an embarrassment. We have people like Robert here, experts for all these years, but we still produce aflatoxin-infested maize. Doesn't technology have an answer for that?
There is technology, but also there is a practice. Technology works also with the practice. Yes, you could have technology to monitor the aflatoxin levels, but the practice, I think, is what is killing. We are actually getting maize when it's wet and keeping it on the ground. So there are systems and practices that need to be changed. And well, you can check all these processes with the technology, but the problem is our practice is still very wrong on many of our items that we're doing. So we need to do a lot, as you said earlier, attitude and changing the old practices that we're doing need to change. If you don't change that, then we go back to the cycle. Even if you have the tracking technologies, it won't work. Because it's what you feed into the technology that actually matters at the moment. Especially
there's an
with
argument that sometimes technology does not serve the interests of promoting, even in agriculture, promoting actually genuine products. That a lot of the technology around the milling of grain, for example, that these machines which you guys bring the technology, crushes the maize, takes out all the nutrients, and then leaves some powder which is even not good for our digestion, and then you have that replacing the local like millet, which was ground on the stone, that is healthier. Now you guys of technology have brought machines, you grind, and you even call it super. You see that posho, the super, so fine, it is like cement. So technology is also creating fake products. How do you answer that? In food, for example.
In food, I would take it from the aspect of what the market is perceiving. Now I'm using the aspect of marketing, because when you're looking at people buying the white posho, and they say it's the best posho, the way we market, especially in Uganda, we are marketing the white posho as the best and supreme. Now that's the marketing, which is wrong, and it's not giving the people what is the nutrition value within that particular product. And I think here what you're talking about is wrong information coming to the general public.
But this is the information you spread on the info trade.
So the aspect here, no, it's not.
Don't you spread that information?
No, we don't spread that information, because info trade will provide you with the price and the content of the product that you are getting. The price
of the white fine cassava.
You will have white cassava is this price, flour is this price, and so on.
So the trade, don't you sell that super fine posho?
It is also there. What will happen is that you are telling people the price of this fine posho is this, maybe 2,000.
So in other words, you're also promoting that product which you're saying is not good for us?
Because you're making a person decide on what price to buy. So they need to know the price variation of all the products. Regardless of whether you're telling the brand, the yellow posho, you have to give the prices. Now people will know the prices. I make a decision, because info is about pricing. What is the price choice you're making?
But not on the quality.
It's not on the quality. But the issue about pricing and quality, it also will depend on the manufacturer. What have they labeled? What nutrients are they promoting? And to me, it's the wrong coding that people need to start looking at. Well, if I label it like this, this is the standard for nutrition, I should be taking this. If I just want it for this.
So Robert, what you are saying is that a lot of the posho we have on the market is misinforming us in terms, it is wrong.
It is the packaging and the information put there that is actually giving misinformation.
What is the misinformation? People want to know.
People want to know. That means when we are labeling products, we need to label them according to the nutrients. And I think this is where you bring in, your organization can actually help with the Bureau of Standards, so that people can get to know. You should read the details.
What is wrong on the posho on the market? What information is wrong? What are they putting? For example, they are putting 10% what, and it's not.
And it's not. They can tell you that this is nutritious, yet you know that when you are eating the white posho, it is less nutritious than actually the brown posho, because it's the beautification that you are talking about. I can't give you the actual percentages because I have not come with the product that I
But you also agree that when you go and put in the meal and throw away
depending on the sieve that you are using,
we are losing the genuineness.
That is true. Because it depends on the sieve you are using that we change the levels of fineness.
So you technology people are also causing us harm with these machines. That's what
does the market want? Now we need to, that's why
I'm saying, but you're misleading us. I grew thinking when we were in school, we used to eat that rough posho during the war and so on. You know, you have one meal, and then you think it is bad. Even I don't know how old you were that time, but during the famine in the 80s, I think, there used to be, you said, some yellow posho from South Africa. It was rough, but it was nutritious, I think.
That's true.
And we thought we were unlucky, but now we are going for this super fine, I don't know, grade one.
Grade one,
and it's actually not healthy.
Yes, that is true. That is true. But now the issue here is about public education, public awareness, and also changing the way we are labeling. We don't look at the fine print. We are not looking at the fine print. If we do look at the fine print, some of these things are going to change. I think, to me, your show can actually bring out the aspect of people start realizing that we need to know what we are eating by actually reading whatever we
The problem, we may even read, then you see it has, I don't know, nitrogen or what. You don't even know what that does. For you just read and smile and pay.
But you see, this country has an opportunity that we have a lot of NGOs doing a lot of public awareness, civic education, everything is happening. These are some of the things that we can actually have many of the other organizations also join forces with you to actually educate the public. I think, to me, that is where we should be going.
One of the other things that has been introduced, because groundnuts We grew up knowing that you pound the groundnut in that wooden thing.
Yes.
Now you technology people introduced something new
With a machine.
where there is a machine that can grind the ginat
Continuously, yes.
Now, the problem with that machine, there are a lot of metal flicks that get off and go into the groundnut. If you put a magnet or something, you'd be able to pick a lot of those. So
now,
again,
to me, that is actually using inappropriate tools, because at the moment what they are recommending is stainless kind of steel manufacturing equipment. But in many times what we are using here, we go to Katwe and say, yes, I know how to modify this machine, and they do it from there without looking at use of stainless steel. Because with most of the machine, as it wears out, you have metals going into the product that you're actually making. I think that is now a problem whereby we need some policing from the standards. What should be the standard body doing in terms of when you are doing food products, what kind of machinery should you use? We should have a criteria that should be actually standard across. You will not take that product out of the country, but we are feeding it to our own people. If you wanted
with the
to
metals
export,
going
yes,
in
you
there
cannot
to the
take.
livers.
I have done a program here where we're trying to move dried pineapple from Uganda to Europe, and that was with Afri Farms. I think we're back in 2018.
I did the same. I used to send pineapples to
and
the UK.
when we did that, we had to do research. Our product was scrutinized heavily for any third-party particles that would come from here before we entered the market. So I can tell you that whatever we do here may not even go out of the country. But when you want to export, we are exporting the best. So I think, to me, it is our regulation system here, the policing system here, the policies that are in place that need to be fine-tuned,
So
and then we can
technology per se is not the problem.
Yes, because
it is how we are using it, applying
you set the
it.
standards, and then people will apply, because it is already known what kind of materials you should use to make a machine like that one. But nobody monitors that machine.
Bob,
and you and me buy.
Don't you think this thing of technology and counterfeits, don't you think that even our ability to develop and employ technology is affected by these ownership issues? You know, the owners of this technology, we don't own a lot of this technology. Even if you want to design something, you cannot get patent protection.
Yes.
The whole of Africa, I think 3 years ago, we had less than 1,500 patents registered, you can imagine. The whole of Africa. And yet one country, China, had more than 400,000 patents to its name.
Yes.
Just one country like this. So if we are saying technology against counterfeits, we even have issues
On the
of
registration. owning.
Transfer of technology. What's your experience with transfer and ownership of technology?
It is actually, what you're saying is very true, and I like the way you have actually noticed that China actually has the majority even in the whole globe almost. Right now they are growing faster in registering their technologies. To me, what I think, especially in Africa, one, people did not know that they should register. By the time you're thinking of registering, someone else has actually registered what you're doing. There's slowness.
We don't know that those inventions are property.
Yes, are property.
We only think a land title with Milo. We are fighting over Milo, but other people have Milo
and
in industry and technology.
Yes. And that is where is the aspect you have an asset with your technology, with your knowledge, and people don't register it. Formalizing that alone is what has been lacking. Now, to me, the first part is, are we telling people that you have an asset? If you produce something, we know someone has developed a product and it's actually origin from Uganda, the government or any other body should pick it up and say, can we protect this? There should be an interest in what is our own.
What we are developing locally?
Yes, what we are developing on our own in our country. If you cannot promote what is locally developed, then you are not giving.
You cannot rely on foreign technology.
Yes.
To completely develop yourself.
Yes. So to me, there is a need that we need to promote what is our own, so that people start seeing value. If someone start knowing that I can sit at home when I design 4 technologies and I will earn from the loyalties coming from the use of that technology here and beyond, and I will be paid.
But you've heard government has just said that they are going to increase the pay of science teachers.
Yes.
So don't you think that is a move to promote technological advancement?
The interesting thing about science teachers is that, yes, they can promote sciences, but we have to look at the abilities of the children they are training to actually say, I want to go and be practical with the sciences. Yes, we have had people who are scientists, but they're not even able to do a chemical or to mix a chemical and make shoe polish. At one time, actually,
we still import shoe polish.
Yes, we still import shoe polish. At
Yet
one
we
time,
have chemical engineers.
I started with a young man who was with a diploma, and we were mixing paint at one time when I just started doing business. And this man was a chemistry teacher. We started doing some paint. But the issue here is that he had all the skills. If nobody prompts them to do something, they will not use those skills. Now, the aspect of paying science teachers more and forgetting other disciplines is a little bit of far-fetched. I think to me, we need to take a 360 around the child that we are training. Do they have the interest to actually go and apply that science?
But if you're training the child and they are cheating exams, so you can imagine. Because that's also another issue in the training. You don't have guarantee that the guy will get the actual marks.
To be honest, I think you're having a very big elephant to slaughter here, because when you're looking at counterfeits, you are looking at also the system that's generating the actual education you're having. So it's a very big animal that we are slaughtering here. But to me, what I think is they need to be looking at a 360 approach on what will be the benefit. We need to look at how we can benefit our children at the lower end, who are going to be trained by the scientists. Are they going to apply the technologies? But also
even when they come to the field, do we have innovation hubs? Do we have a fund for the scientists?
That is interesting. To be able to I think the Ministry of Technology should be thinking about such of the funds which actually promote indigenous technologies and actually bring them.
ICT has a fund.
Yes, but how are people actually benefiting? Are we getting the right people that are actually entrepreneurs to do it? That's the aspect we are looking at. Because when someone is also a scientist, there should be some business acumen that we are talking about here. We have, let me just give you an example of an area where I am a lot. People are developing apps and other aspects, as very many apps, softwares and so things. But the question is, can they get to the market? Because you're a developer, but the question is, can you take your product to the market and can it complete the cycle? We have that problem. Technologies can be developed, but they may never complete the cycle. So we need also another wing of people developing that business, and that's the business development services along that technology developer to be able to push it.
I think before we end, since you're very passionate about IT and the Internet of Things, there is an accusation against you IT wizards.
What accusation is this?
You have promoted counterfeits. A lot of sales are being promoted online and a lot of fakes are going on there online. Do you agree that ICT has promoted counterfeiting culture?
I do agree that with ICTs, yes, we are going to have the disadvantages of IT and exposure that we are going to be having, and going forward it's going to be even more than that, because we need to be thinking on how we protect our industry against counterfeits on the internet. The internet is one of the technologies that has actually opened the globe. And opening the globe, it has opened an opportunity for even those that would like to profit from counterfeits to do more. We have
Why don't you have an internet police? Like in agriculture, you have agriculture police.
Yes, we have cybercrime investigation systems that are there, even software that can track these fake websites. You need to be tracking things. You can actually track all the fake products on the internet by using one of the softwares and know what is actually right and proficient or not. You can tell.
But why don't you have a technology to prevent the fake from getting online?
Now that is, you have to use it at a centralized level. Like UCC, at UCC level, we can actually do that. You can have a technology done at that level that whatever is coming into the country is filtered. That can be done. So you have to have a central level where you can filter whatever comes into the pipe, that these kind of things, we have tracked them, they are fake, they should not be going in. The other aspect that people need to know, when you go to the internet, not all sites are actually varied. You need to know which site you're actually going to. There are systems that you can track for companies.
But let me ask, really, whoever hosts that site, isn't there a system of some KYC? Like you're opening a bank account, so they will have to know, are you genuine, give us your valid this and that. You just put up something fake and you
Yes, because sites are hosted anywhere in the world. You can host your site in Uganda, in the US, in China. A hosting person can be
just
anywhere.
After money.
It's after the money. They don't care what you put in. They just give you a hosting environment.
So technology is actually giving us a headache more than it is solving the headache of counterfeits.
Yes, I would think it does bring a headache, but also it can help to solve. Because when you're looking at internet, you are looking at it from the perspective of what you are getting out of the internet.
You create the headache, then you sell us a solution.
Solutions
you come back to us
and that is very true. The solutions are sold because they find you have a problem.
After you've created it.
That not after we have created it, depending on different people.
We are about to end.
Yes.
The mobile data consumption worldwide is increasing.
Yes.
I think during COVID maybe it has gone up to 50% or even more. Now, this data thing, can it be faked? Is there fake data?
No, when you're talking about mobile data, you're looking about the information, or you're looking about the actual, the way we pay for the data?
Both. Can data be faked?
The data that I can know that can be faked is the amount of information you get off the internet. Some of the data that you think all this info, like let's say the prices and whatever on the internet, some of the information is actually faked.
You're talking of that data.
That is data.
Okay, for example, bundles.
Bundles. Now, bundles, that will be when someone infiltrates a system and then sells data to people. All sells you fake data. That's fake data. That's fake data. So that means someone is getting a bundle and selling you, which is not actually right, and then you buy, and someone else has to be making a loss. That means the company that is actually selling the data is making a loss. But he has to have a license to be selling through a particular party or third party. The aggregator will be selling the fake data, and someone will have to be making a loss at the end of the day. And that will be the communication provider, the company providing
to lose, and then you use stolen property.
So you are using stolen property to be able to do your surfing and so on, but you are stealing data from another party.
There's something that intrigues me as we close about your ICT things. A lot of myths around 5G. Okay?
Yes.
So you're going to tell us what 5G is, that 5G helps to spread COVID, that it has health risks and so on. This 5G animal, what is it? Is it actually dangerous? Is it fake?
Technologies have levels, and I think you have seen in the simple terms, I could say we have moved from 1G, 2G, 3G, and so on.
But when we reached 5, there was an alarm.
You are having
COVID
an alarm. That COVID
this is what
came.
they are
so
saying.
These are coincidences, and people have a lot of propaganda around all these aspects. And to me, I don't believe propaganda there's a right way to go. Technologies will always keep on improving, and we know what 5G is likely to be doing. We're looking about the level of speed of information flowing. Yes, in many places we are looking at how many towers are in a place. Yes, we are talking about this. We may have cancer coming in because of the towers, but technology can be improved to actually prevent that aspect. And people are talking about, it will bring cancer, but we have got towers in many places. Even where you have electrical poles, these are high voltage. A lot of things are said happen around that high voltage. Now, should we stop transmitting power? No. We need to find a way on how to prevent people from being around the high voltage power lines. And the same thing will apply when we are talking about putting up the towers or the microwaves for moving the 5G internet.
So you think the benefits of 5G, like telemedicine, smart manufacturing, outweigh these risks of COVID?
Yes, they are outweigh, and I don't think COVID is actually from 5G. That one I do not believe. I have not read it anywhere, and I don't think it's right.
Talk about, lastly, cybercrime. Before you guys brought your computers and technology, we had no cybercrime. We had these other crimes. But now, cybercrime is a major, major problem. When systems are hacked, and the other day, WhatsApp and Facebook were all
closed. And
I don't know, maybe somebody hacked. How, as a technology person, how responsible do you feel for the suffering of the millions of people because of cybercrime?
And let me start from that way, that cybercrime is going to increase because it's becoming the business, whereby everybody is eyeing where the business is going, because a lot of businesses are moving towards the internet. They're using technology as a business avenue. So it's becoming that avenue. People are going to look for those channels. How can we make money from that channel? So to me, what I'm thinking that it is increasing, but then also we need to be vigilant on what we have to do.
How do we stop the criminals,
cyber
criminals?
One thing, educate people on how to use the internet. how to use your passwords. People are using the same password and using it several times and not changing it for years and years. People are using things that people get to know. They are
How
using your
often
birthday.
should you change your password?
To me,
Every,
a system
how many
should,
hours?
Not hours. You can actually say every month I change my password, but also you can have the system prompt you to change your password. Use two-factor authentication, whereby when you log in with your password, it sends you also a message on your phone so that it actually identifies is it you, to authenticate that it's you actually logging into the system. You could use different other methods, that even 3 times to authenticate your system 3 times before you actually log in. Now computers are using facial recognition, especially if you are a CEO of any company. Yes, it should be better that your computer is double locked or triple locked, because anybody accessing you will have access to your bank accounts, will have access to everything that you have. Just entering into your computer, we can access that. So for companies, what can be done? Have good firewalls developed for your website and also your database systems. If you do not have a firewall, anybody can actually fish for that data that you have, especially identity theft, even for your staff, to market to them anything they want to market.
Robert, production says you have spoken well, but you also have to stop here.
Thank you.
This, as you have seen, technology and counterfeits. You must end by telling us your best piece of technology that has ever been made and your worst.
I think the best piece of technology that they have ever made is the Internet of all things. I just love the Internet. It has to
be the Internet.
I'm telling you, it does wonders.
There's a lot of mischief there.
Mischief and also good thing. Both you need to know what to fish from this Internet of all things. But I think it's one of the best technologies.
Is it also the worst?
I would say it actually also takes the worst, because you may get lost there, and it has brought also the worst part of people. We're dealing with issues of child addiction. Everything is there.
It's all combined there.
Combined,
we
so
have
we
to
need
end
to manage
here.
that.
This has been Robert Kintu. Robert Kintu has been our first guest discussing technology in the space of counterfeits. Technology for or technology against counterfeits. This is a big topic, because there are arguments on both sides of the divide. There are those who think that technology is good. It is helping us to trace, to track, to stop the counterfeiters. There are those who are saying that it is also actually promoting this huge problem that we have of counterfeits. We have got to stop here. We have an assembly of guests we shall be talking with about this subject of technology and counterfeits. So until the next episode, we need to sign off by saying, don't be fake, buy and sell genuine.